What's up everybody, my name is John. I'm from Old Reading Farm, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to take the backhoe off of my L4701 Kubota tractor. So I'm going to break this video up into actually two different parts. So part one, which is going to be first, obviously, is going to be removing the actual backhoe. So again, this is an L4701 from Kubota and the BH92 backhoe. But this should be about the same for other models. Anyway, I'm not going to waste your time with a whole bunch of storytelling. I'm just going to get right into it, all right? Let's go. Okay, so before we get too far into it, there are basically 2 points of contact for the backhoe on each side. So there's the bottom there. You can see that little tab sticks out and gets held in the hook of the subframe. And then there's this part up here, which is connected with this big heavy-duty pin that goes through right there. And that's basically the only 2 points of contact on either side of this backhoe. So this 1,200-pound piece of equipment is held on by 2 pieces. First things first, you're gonna wanna find a nice level spot. I don't really have too much of that over here, so this is basically as level as I have. And now if you're like me, you have instructions on the side there for how to remove it, so it makes pretty much sense. But the first time I ever did this, I'm really more of a visual guy, so gotta do that. So let's see. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the tractor on to get some hydraulic flow, and then we're gonna lower the boom to take pressure off of those 2 pins that I showed you earlier, one on either side right here. So I'll show you how I do that right now. We're just gonna put this down to relieve some of the tension, and then we're gonna take those pins out. Okay, so that's all it really takes. I'm gonna take you and show you what I'm doing right now. All right, so you see, that's just barely on the ground. It's just lifting it up enough so that I can pull this pin out. So you can see there's a little grab bar right here, and look at that. You know, it's a little tight in here. That just comes right out. And now if we're nice and level, it should do the same thing on this side. Not so much. So just lift it up a little bit more. Maybe I'll bring it down a little bit. So I must not be level. That's why this one isn't budging. So it's just gonna take a little maneuvering to make sure I can get that pin out. It's so cold. So really now all I got to do is just work it. Work it out, girl. It's cold, and that metal is really cold. There we go. And I had noticed that when I put this back in, it was the same thing. And they also say, you know, it's probably somewhat related to this. You can see the rust on there. You know, I'm venturing a guess, if I just clean that up a little bit, that'll make a difference. And they say you can also grease this pin so that it's easier to come out in the future. Okay, so now we have the 2 top pins taken out. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the feet down, and we're gonna lift those little tabs that I showed you first out of the hooks on the subframe. And so we're gonna do that by bringing the boom back up and then just putting the legs down. All right, so just so you can see what's happening, so I'm now bringing the boom back to its original position. So right now there's 3 points of contact. There's the boom on the ground, and then there's the 2 tabs in there. So what I'm doing now is I'm bringing the boom back up, and you can see it's pulling away from these. And then once we're fully off there, we put the feet down, lift it up, and go from there. And you can see that I had lowered the feet already, but we're gonna actually lower them now. Okay, so now when I lower the feet, you can see that lifts right up out of there. All right, so I feel like I'm disengaged from both, and so you can see it's up out of that cradle on this side, and I just want to double check and make sure. Yep, so same thing right there. So now, the only thing connecting the tractor and the backhoe are the hydraulic hoses. So, I'll show you where those are right now. So, there is only one outlet coming from the tractor right here that you can see. On mine it's marked blue, and then there's an inlet and an outlet on this backhoe. So basically the hydraulic line comes from the tractor, it runs all through the backhoe, and then it goes back to the tractor. So what we're going to do now, because we need the hydraulics to put everything down, we're going to pull the tractor forward the slightest bit, just enough so that this will be able to go down without touching the frame, and it doesn't pull any of the hoses. Be right back. Okay, so now that we are far enough away, and again, you want to be really careful not to pull any of these hoses, but so we should be far enough away that we can lower it down. And so basically we're just going to take, the very bottom here, and we're going to set this on the ground by lifting the stabilizer arms, and we're going to try to do that slowly and both sides at the same time if we can. Okay, so now that puppy is on the ground, and we're actually still a little bit close, so I'm just going to pull forward a tiny bit more. Okay, so at this point you can go ahead and turn the tractor off, because we don't want any hydraulic pressure when we take these out, and then you can relieve some of the tension here, because we just want to get, and so I'm just, so basically you just kind of play with everything to make sure that there's no hydraulic pressure. And you can see, there's nothing else happening here. So you just play with the knobs a little bit, just so that there's no hydraulic pressure when you take these hoses out. So you can see that there's two hoses here. And now what's going to be really, really important is you're going to take the hose out of here, and you can cap it, and this stays with the backhoe. And then you're going to take this one that's currently plugged into the backhoe and plug it back in to the inlet here. So on my tractor, it is a little bit confusing because you basically plug a red marked connector into a blue marked inlet, but it's the only hose that's coming out of the tractor, and it needs to get hooked back up to the tractor. Otherwise, your hydraulic system is not going to work. You could drain the entire thing of oil and ruin everything. So it's just really important that after everything is all done, you reconnect that hose. All right, so this will be really straightforward. Hose comes out of there. Hose comes out of there, and this is the one that stays with the tractor. So I guess we could actually, yeah. So better than just letting that sit, I'll connect that there. And then, so this is the only other hose coming out of the tractor, and again, you want to make sure that this goes back in to the tractor. Okay, great. All right, so we are all set now. Backhoe is completely disconnected. Tractor's free to run. We just double check, we make sure we got that hose connected back in. Okay, we are all set. Our backhoe is now disconnected, and we are free to go where we please. All right, so that's gonna do it for part 1 of this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please give this video a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and as always, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Please give us... is unhook it. I don't even know. So this is... So... or the hydraulic... almost fell. Hey!